There we are. Okay, see you soon.
All right.
The energy around the medium is very strong today. It is not connected to the medium, rather than to the location that he sits. And it is felt all around the environment. Hence, there is more agitation within the mind that we are settling down. So I must continue my words and allow the words to firm the link of connection. Now, I do wish to start with a quote. And the quote today is from the medium's mind. It is one that he found a few days ago and has stuck within his memory, which we will use now. And that is, within every sinner, there is a virtue. Within every person, there is a part of that person that is holy. Whatever events you undertake and maybe do wrong in your mind, there is a holy element to that event. Within every narcissist, there is the empath. And the empathic nature within that narcissist is there to wake up the narcissist from the journey into self. And because of this, the narcissist attracts another empath. That empath is there to show the way for the narcissist to follow. But it is also, there is a little bit of narcissism within the empath. And the empath is then there to see what must be cleansed from his diamond or her diamond. A reflection of that inner truth that must be removed for total clarity. Within the faults of that diamond, there is surrounding it much purity. No matter who or where or what events that are undertaken, there is virtue within the sinner. Now you either see the sin or you see the virtue. It is very easy at times to see the external and not the internal. To see the one at fault and not the nature behind that fault. To see the error of ways and not see why. But know that it is there. Know that there is virtue. You see, what you see in another, then of course is really within yourself. But you would doubt this, but you can see it in operation all the time. Listen to the words of other people as they describe the faults of others, and know that they are describing themselves. The external reflects the impurity within, or the purity that is there. Which do you see? You are here, at least in part, to know your own truth. And to know your own truth is not gained by desire. Because desire would lead you onto an endless journey of no satisfaction. Rather, it is the contentment and satisfaction of the purity of your virtuous state. But as I said a few weeks ago, your true journey is to look for where this comes from. Not the correction of the outside. It just reflects your path inwards. And the deeper you look into your inner being, the end result is always spirit. So I believe we have some names on the healing list, Brandon. May I have those now, please?
Yes, we have Angelina, George, Andreas, Stephanos, Irene, Stella, Dimitri, Leroy, Bob, and Tim Henke, Tracy and Eric, Stephen and Matthew, Jill, Mitch, Katie, Marianne and Jody, Jetta Gordon, Caleb, Evie Rose, Ariel, Ed, Teresa, Kaylee, Nelsie and Eileen, Anna Mitsakis, Craig and Chancel Slavin, Guy and Helen Bevilacqua, Teresa, Charlotte and Aura, Sophie, Michael, Cassandra P., Warren, Sarah and Sam, Josh, Megan, Lucky, Sammy, Wesley French, Raylene and Neil Parsons, Pat, Carrie Balding, Shane, and two souls recently transitioned to spirit this week, Loretta Caputo and Alice Henke. Thank you.
Thank you. So last week we undertook questions and answers. And we said we will continue for another week to take the balance of the questions. So let's see if we can get through the questions that are remaining. Brandon, do you have a questioner or a question for me?
Yes, from last week, we have Jim Larson. Jim, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. It's about my personal development. I hope it's appropriate here. Because I hope it's appropriate for the rest of the group, but I'll just read it. It says, I am very drawn to developing mental mediumship and psychic abilities. I've been learning both for over a year, and though sometimes have fairly good and encouraging results, they have been mostly inconsistent. Also, I often feel a reluctance or lack of motivation to practice. Not sure why this is when I know it is a necessary part of my learning. Would my current spiritual development be a big factor in this? Or is this just not the correct path for me in the future? Thank you.
A journey often begins with an inclination, or if you prefer, a call. And a call to action, a call to take a pathway. And then you begin your steps along that pathway and you walk it with the full intention of getting to whatever the end result is. And at the beginning, although the motive is pure and true, then there are the blockages and doubts which first arise. So often at this stage, you are surrounded by those which seek to put doubt in your mind, rather like a doorman or someone that is critical of you and would say, you are not good enough, you cannot do it, it is impossible. Why would you do that? It is silly, whatever the words are. And they add doubt. But really, these people are just proclaiming the future doubts which will exist within your mind. The development of yourself, my friend, is actually a development towards your inner self, your spiritual self, and you can express that through the development of mediumship. But the core for you is inwards, and the core for you is down into your depth to find out your truth and your inner self, and to find out that purity that you are trying to express outwards. Your insides are waking up and your outsides are catching up. The two will eventually become one. Let yourself follow the path of the development of mediumship and psychic ability, but always follow the path of inner searching. You're a man of knowledge and a man of heart, and the two for you must join into one, that you may find your purity by merging all avenues together. And we have spoken often about head and heart, and perhaps you can look at past talks if you want to go further. This indeed is on your track or on your path, at least for a while. Your doubt is your egoic self, and that is no more than the doorkeeper that I mentioned before. You must push through this initial doubt, continue the practice. You are called to serve, and you are called to make a difference. You will make the best difference by knowing you are spirit first and foremost. By knowing this, then you express yourself purely in the expression of your mediumship. And then your effort levels will be changed from effort to ease, from active to passive, from pushing to allowing. So it is the connection inside. You should firm that meditation practice and be hard on yourself for just a while to establish meditation firmly. Initial meditations have woken up this desire as it exists within all. Your path that you are beginning, you must trust and allow, and surrender all activity to be purely the service of spirit. If you claim anything and say you are the medium, you are the doer, you are the one providing healing or message, then you will claim it to your ego and strengthen your ego. The truth is, let spirit express what they need to express and then be done with it. And let yourself be pure. I encourage you along. I do not doubt you, but I encourage you inwards also. Find out, where does this come from? As I said in the beginning, where does that inclination come from? Your battle will be head. Let your heart lead the way in the message, and you will find your delivery will become pure and full of joy. Don't back away. Step forward. Know that the challenges you face are faced by all, initially and also then later. You are in training for the doubts which will come later and the doubters. They will be stronger then. They are mild now because they are within your mind. Do you understand, my friend? Have I answered you sufficiently?
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. There's a story. I wonder if you've heard of Ramanana Maharishi. Maharishi, as he was known, a great guru. He spent 14 years on the question, who am I? 14 years. Digging deeper and looking for the trail and following a path as best as he could. Then one day, by chance occurrence, a disciple mentioned a slight change at looking at the question. And that disciple then set Maharishi on another way to look at who am I. And he became enlightened in a matter of minutes. Now, I tell you this story because even the great spend many years in their work and then all of a sudden get an overnight success. You see, you walk a path, and let us say it is the development of effective mediumship, to use your phrase. You keep walking it, but one day, everything clicks into place. If you were to chase mediumship and follow all the pathways, all the training from all the teachers, you could become a very effective medium. but you may never know yourself. And that is why you should follow both paths. Within you and within all, within your very depth of your heart, is every deity that you could desire. And those deities, all they ask is to be born again. But to be born through you, to be made manifest into the world. The loving hands of compassion, let us say, of Huan Yin. The beauty of knowledge represented by Athena. That is your battle, the knowledge and the compassion. You can be a very effective medium and never be compassionate. Never have the true depth of knowledge, but only knowledge of a vocation. So hence it is very important to have heart within action. So be inwards and be outwards, my friend. And know your outwards is an expression of your in. And then your path will feel true and aligned, rather than one where your vocation never fully satisfies. God bless you.
Thank you.
Brandon, another question.
Yes, this question comes from Tamika, who's not in attendance today. So on her behalf, her question is, what was the meaning of following your path backwards? Thank you.
In essence, we have answered that with the previous words. You see, you think you are a person, a body, but you are not. You are the witnesser of the body. You think you are the one that is doing the work, but you are the spirit which observes the show. The body lays claim to all actions, and in doing so builds up the ego. The spirit claims nothing and gives it all to God, if you wish. And say, I do not do this for me, but it is done as a reflection of the love. And by following that, you become more in tune with your truth. But not only that, you find the truth, but also you gain by what you lose. So you gain peace by losing agitation. You gain love by removing fear. You gain knowledge by letting go the chasing of what you think you know. There was a story of a young boy who decided to follow the way of renunciation. And he lived in a good household. And he said to his father, Father, I am going to become a renunciant. And he sat in his room. He undertook no work, but was still fed and had accommodation and clothes. And his father said, "How are you getting on?" He said, "I still have attachment. I will give up the house and go and live in a cave." So he goes to the cave and continues to give up. And the father comes to see him and said, "How are you getting on?" He said, "I still have attachment. Yet all I have is the clothes on my back." He said, "I must now give up the body. That is all I possess." And the father said, "If you kill yourself now, then your subtle mind will continue on beyond the death of the body and ensure the birth once more and ensure the pathway must be repeated. Then how do I give up everything?" And the father said, "Finally, you have asked me a question. You give up the idea of you are the one that is giving up, of renouncing the physical world. And you let spirit run your life. And then you will find pure peace, because you are not doing the work. It is the idea that you are giving up reinforces a individual you. So by following the path backwards into your spiritual nature, then you discover your truth is the purity of love. You are the love, the peace, consciousness. And if you are peace, why do you follow drama? That is the journey back. It is not to gain, it is to lose, and in losing you gain everything. All that matters. You see, the sun was attached to the outside world, rather than realizing it is the inside world, your spiritual form, that little bit of virtue within the sinner that exists on the outside. So you follow it back to gain all that you want. Is there another question, Brandon?
Yes, there's Malada Rice Hanky. You're up.
Hi, Ignatius.
Good morning, my dear.
So I have a question about Reiki healing and the guides that work with us for Reiki in comparison to the guides that work with us for trance. It just feels a little bit different. Is there anything that can be shared?
When you fall in love, does it feel different to being at peace?
Yes.
What do you think? It feels different, doesn't it?
Yes.
Is love and peace the same thing? Do you think?
Maybe at the very heart of it, it is the same, but a little ways up, maybe not.
Love and peace come from the same source, but they expressed in different ways. So you can find that you can have the purity of peace and love will be there. But you can have love at times and no peace because it feels like it's agitation, or you have love and your love is, let's say, rejected by the other. So they can feel very different, but they come through the same or from the same source. So the different types of healing use the same energy but are expressed differently. So water running down a thin path will be very quick, but a wide path may be very slow. But you would say one river is raging and one river is peaceful. Yet it is the same river, going along different pathways. So the flow of energy from you, you follow your path, you connect and request it the way it needs to be for that situation, but it is expressed and felt slightly different. So there is only one love, yet it is expressed in many different ways. So you may love, let us say, a parent different to a child, different to a friend, different to a job. Yet you would say you would love them all. But it is the placing of it of restrictions or application which changes the expression. So let the expression be true. It is the mind of, let us say, the medium, if that is the correct term in this, that determines the different application. So the medium can also turn off the flow of love and choose not to love the stranger, or can leave the love flowing and love the stranger. So the mind then creates the result. So your job is to set the intention and to let the purity flow as pure as it should be, so that it is given in the way that is meant to be received. You do not know how the client needs to receive it, but you know what I will say next, and that is Spirit do know. To let that flow of information, the flow of love, flow through you in whatever way it so desires. Claim it not. You just allow. Do you understand?
I do. Thank you so much, Ignatius.
You understand the practice, my dear.
I do. I do. Thank you.
You know this in your being, don't you? You knew the
Yeah.
answer. You just needed to be assured.
Yes, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my dear. Is there another question, Brand?
We all appreciate you, Ignatius. Yes, this comes from Dave, who's not here. So on his behalf, what is the most effective way to keep our energy centers clear and clean? Thank you.
The most effective way to keep out energy that is clear and clean. Is that correct?
Yes, that's his question.
The flow of energy that must flow through anyone. Now, be it from the initial question on mediumship and the journey home question and the flow of healing energy, must come from its purest form. So if it comes from body, of course, there are restrictions. And the flow of energy from one body to another will deplete the very first body as the energy is given away. But if the flow comes from mind, then it is full of the way it should be. So it should work here, it should work there, it should be red or blue or green. But if the flow of energy comes from its purest form, then of course it is pure. It is, say, white light as opposed to diffracted light. So that white light must flow purely. So by connecting to the pureness of your source determines then the application and the result. It is not for you to judge. It is for you only to allow. You see, many people think that if I give, then I am depleted. That is not true. You cannot give away all the energy. The secret is then to give and to let flow. To let it be with a pure heart and an open mind. To let it be flow in the way it is meant to be given to the other person. The energy must follow its path. Are you putting restrictions on it or not? If you do, then it does not flow as well and may pick up silt or mud along the way. Now, if you do not want that flow of energy, you can stop it at any time, or your mind can. And it's a simple request. The closing of the gate. But you see, your mind is what creates your drama and your problem anyway. Can you truly trust it? There is the questioners, there is your path. You have used your mind often. Can you trust it? There comes to a certain point where your mind will not know all the answers, will never know any reason for why. And then you must take the step beyond the mind into, let us call it, the spiritual being. So stop thinking. Allow the truth to be revealed to you. Your mind is either a great servant or a terrible master. Which would you rather? I wish you well. Do we have time for another question?
Yes, we do. This next question comes from Michelle, who's not here as well. Her question was, the dark tunnel described in the journey towards self-realization, is this when spirit releases the reins of the student so they can navigate towards following their own self-truth? Thank you.
The dark tunnel is the tunnel of uncertainty that you must face. Here, there is the destruction of old and the creation of new, in terms of new being or a new path. And the tunnel feels dark because old habits, old beliefs, old systems must fall away. So the tunnel is really a revealing of the inner light by shedding the skin of the old self to be birthed into the new self. So the shedding of what your journey was to reveal your truth inside. So often people see lights either deep within their being, and of course there are many colors. This questioner knows what I am talking about. There are many colors of light as well. However, it is the letting go of what was for you to step into what is. So if I go back to Jim's first question on that inkling of flame that is within, the flame of expression, the flame of desire to help others, to be of service, to be true to me. In essence, that both gets brighter before it gets darker, before it becomes your true self. It is one of letting go, remember, letting go. Through the tunnel then, you face the things that you have not let go of. So for some, if you have old memories of things that you did or did not do, they must be forgiven. And you must see them as not who I am, but an expression of my past, to release your present into the true glory of your spirit self. Often at this time, people, situations are shed till they can become uncomfortable. But it is only shedding what you were once attached to. That doesn't serve you any longer. If you hold it, you will retain the length of your tunnel and never fully come into the light. Let go. Let the light be you. The journey is to stop seeing the light and to become the light. So in meditation, there are some people which say, I have found peace. My mind is still. Well, they have not found their way yet. It is not the I and peace. It is becoming peace. There is no I. So it is becoming the light, not seeing the light, that is crucial to the path. And that reflects back to that first question. It is becoming the spirit, not the expression of spirit. So becoming your spiritual self, my friend, not the mediumship. Mediumship will have its reward, but it'll never be who you are. It'll always be an expression of who you are. I trust you understand the difference. And I trust this questioner also understands. You'll be in the tunnel until you become the light. And you and the light, or the first question or the healing question. You will never be a healer until you become the healing. The spirit-ing, the peace. I answered that rather well, I think. But it is how it's received that is important. Back to you, Brandon.
Well, I have asked all questions presented to me. I have my own that I'd like to ask.
Yes, please do.
My question is on dispassion. You have taught us that emotions are transients. Do you agree that dispassion is fundamental to realizing the self? And if so, how does one attain dispassion while trying to embody love, empathy for others during this time of self-discovery? Thank you.
Yes. It is rather like having a thorn in your finger. You can take another thorn, and that second thorn will help dig out the first thorn, and then you throw them both away. What I mean is your desire, your only desire, should be to be free from desire, and then you get rid of both desires. So you see, it is your intention or the passion that will send you on your way. But be careful that you are not fully letting go into the spiritual expression, as the story of the renunciant said. So your journey is set the passion of knowing God like the drowning man needing air. And that will take you on your journey. You set the passion, the desire, the intention fully in your heart. And then you must let it go. And surrender so that there is no I. And then you become one with the love. You see, the story, or the story, or the analogy of walking into a movie theater and watching the play. Now, the one watching is either full of the emotion of the play. So let us say the horror, if it's a horror movie, the romance, if it's a romantic movie. But then gets up, leaves, and then it is forgotten. So the passion to walk the path and be the path is what will set you on the journey, but then you must let go of the separate self, if you want, the unspiritual nature. The difference between somebody spiritual and somebody not is how much they hold on to the not. It's fairly simple if you say it that way, isn't it? You are already spirit. Stop playing the game of not being spirit, or to know that you are playing the game. Become the observer of the play. And if you want that with your heart, you'll be assured of your accomplishment. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure?
Yep.
The path to spirit, to your true spirit, is one of full of peace and joy once you arrive. And you have already arrived. So next week, we will begin a new topic. Now, the intention of the next topic is the application of spirit in your daily life. Very practical, full of things you can try. I will introduce the topic, but I will not be the speaker. It is full of ways that you can bring spirit or the spiritualness into every corner of your life. As we begin with the truth about happiness. Until then, God bless you all.
Thank you on behalf of everyone.